All right, well, why doesn't the ACC get any respect? NC State is a defending Final Four team. They won the conference tournament for one of, what I believe is, the best conference in the country.
Can I correct you real fast?
Go ahead.
You said one of? It's
I said
the.
one of what I believe is the best.
Is the.
But even I'm covering all my bases. I'm not going to give you anything to argue with. You can argue if it is the best. I don't believe it's a good argument, but you can argue against it. You can't argue against the ACC being one of the best conferences in the country. The NC State Wolfpack won the conference. They made it to the Final Four. And the AP Top 25 preseason poll came out, and they received not a place in the top 25. They received 0 votes. Not even in the also receiving votes category.
Bruh.
Now, I'm not here to say that NC State this year is supposed to be a top 10 team. I can be more realistic than that. I understand before the ACC tournament last year, they were not any kind of juggernaut, so you're building off of the full body of work. But also I can say this. There's a lot of programs that receive votes that do not have the expectations of being a top 10 team. Also, I can say this. You know the coach can do it. You know the coach just did it. You know he can do it. And I'll say this. It's not like the whole team moved on. Michael O'Connell coming back. Jaden Taylor coming back. That's the assist leader and the third leading scorer from a Final Four team. Ben Middlebrooks coming back. He had one of the games of the tournament. And by the way, they were vibing at ACC tip-off. NC State, if they hadn't had the chip on the shoulder put back on because they were, walking around like they owned the room, this might put the chip back on the shoulder. Even after you did all of that last year, no respect. And it continues, right? It's not just NC State. It's the entire ACC. Duke 7th, UNC 9th.
Okay.
NC State, no votes. Wake Forest also receiving votes. I counted, so if the top 25 continued, Wake Forest would be 30.
Yeah.
Miami also receiving votes would be 38th. Clemson also receiving votes would be 41st. Louisville.
Yeah, what the heck?
Also receiving votes would be 47th.
Yeah, Louisville got 4 votes.
That is
State got none.
That is more votes than they have players returning. That is actually
by 4.
4 more votes than they have players returning.
Gosh.
They have 0 players returning. They have 12 incoming transfers. We talked with Pat Kelsey, their coach at ACC Tip-Off. Seems like a nice guy. Could be a good coach. Was getting some things done at College of Charleston. 10 years in the program at Wake Forest decades ago. Right? There's something to like there, but to say this season they're a top 25 team without giving a vote to NC State, what's going on? And we could go on to a bunch of other teams from other conferences that have received votes that don't make sense.
Oh, I was about to say, like, High Point?
High Point would be a great answer.
Princeton?
Princeton would be a great answer.
Arkansas Little Rock got 3.
That would be a great answer.
Who's voting? Who is voting for Arkansas Little Rock?
I genuinely believe there is some kind of groundswell, grassroots movement to knock down the ACC in terms of basketball. Because I don't think there's a single team in the ACC that doesn't have a gripe with where they're ranked. Duke, with their recruiting class, their transfer class, and the 2 guys they're bringing back, top 5 minimum, they're 7th. UNC brings back the best shooting guard in the country. That's not me talking. That's the Jerry West Award talking. As well as one of the best recruiting classes, as well as the third leader and 6th man of the year voting for the ACC last year, as well as Elliot Cadeau, a point guard everyone seems excited about, as well as a guy that shot 46% at his previous stop before hitting the transfer portal, and that's not 46% from the field. That's 46% from 3. Cade Tyson. I think they should probably be in the 5 to 7 range. They're in 9th, and everyone else has a big gripe. Wake Forest not being in the top 25, despite returning what they're returning. Hunter Salas turned down the NBA to return. Efton Reed, former 5-star recruit, 7-footer, who has yet to play for the same team in back-to-back years, going back to his transferring between his junior and senior year in high school, finally has some stability. Last year didn't play at the beginning of the year because of his eligibility. He transferred twice. Can he? Will he? Won't he? Does he have a waiver? Eventually played. He gets a normal offseason for the first time in half a decade. Wake Forest should be top 25. It's very frustrating because right now we're in football season. I know we're doing a lot of basketball talk here. But we're also in football season for college football. And the arguments that we hear yelled at us at this point in time, for some reason, don't apply to basketball. The SEC for years was Georgia and Bama, and then a big gap, and then everybody else. And what that did in the minds of everyone that follows college football was it gave everyone in the SEC respect by proxy because they had to battle with Georgia and Alabama. And so, well, of course, they're going to have a few more losses because they got to play Georgia and Alabama. But then you look at the ACC, and it's negative. It's, well, you're Duke and Carolina and nobody else. And I'm going like, well, by comparison, maybe. Guess what? Auburn and Florida and Tennessee for years and years and years and years looked, by comparison to Georgia and Alabama, pretty darn bad. But they got dragged up. That was a reason why they got to be in the top 25. Why they got to be ranked ahead of teams with more losses than them or less losses than them. But in basketball, if you just say, all right, Duke and Carolina are our Bama and Georgia football, everybody goes, no. I don't understand. And usually we have to wait until mid-season when net rankings and things are settling out to get really upset that everybody's disrespecting the ACC. They didn't wait this year. They said, let's start it. Let's give the team with, in the last 15 years, the most Sweet 16 teams, the most Elite 8 teams, the most Final Four teams. Let's give them 2 teams in the top 25 and walk.
Yeah.
And it's not like they're expecting down years. I actually think Duke had a down year last year. They made it to the Elite 8. I think UNC kind of had a down year last year. They made it to the Sweet 16. At different times were ranked as high as 3rd, 2nd in the country. NC State, down year until it was an awesome year. Like there's got to be some kind of, we've seen you do it before, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt, that you see in other scenarios around college sports that for some reason ACC basketball doesn't get. ACC basketball, they're treated like everybody wants to act in a motivational speech, right? My spot at the top is rent that needs to be paid daily. I got to prove myself every single day against my naysayers and my haters. The ACC is like, I don't want to do any of that, but I have to because they keep knocking us down. It'd be nice if every once in a while somebody just said, you know what, they're probably going to be pretty good because they recruit really well and they're pretty good every year.
Not even hey, out of respect of you going to the Final Four last year, I'm going to put you 25. Like, didn't even get that.
Out of maybe something clicked with Kevin Keatts and he's got something cooking here. I'll put you 25th. Not even a single one of those. Not even hey, you guys pulled some Louisville transfers out of the transfer portal. I'm going to vote Louisville in, so I might as well put you in before them. Because Louisville did get votes.
They did. 60 people voting on this AP poll. I need answers. Who are these stooges? I need all 60 of you to answer for this atrocity.
I do think, and we were talking about this off air, I do think there needs to, do you know what I'm honestly surprised hasn't happened yet in the age of social media?
What's that?
I think ballots should have to be public.
I'm for it.
Like, if you truly believe it and you want to defend it, go ahead. But this anonymous thing lets you be a fool and not pay the price for it.
Mm-hmm. I think football, gets somewhere out there.
Like who you're voting for?
Yeah.
I hope so. It should.
I think football, it's been out there.
And if it is, somebody point me in that direction for basketball. I would love to see. I want to know who made some of these votes. And then I mean, if you're going to have 60 people vote and 59 people are voting one way and you're constantly the outlier, you should have your voting privileges looked at. Not saying revoked immediately, but if you're the outlier, like, this is important. This is important. Maybe, it's just a ranking. Who cares? Well, I'll tell you who does care. Coaches, players, coaches' job security, their families that want to stick around where they're living, players who it's, you may think it's ridiculous, but when you are a college athlete, that's the most important thing you have going on, the thing you spend the most time doing, the thing you care about most. Like, you do check those numbers. It's important.
Keatts printed this out and put it on every player's locker, right?
There's not a single the ACC should laminate them and send them to everybody in the conference and be like, put this in your locker. You look at other teams. I don't like. Who would you rather build a team around, Cooper Flagg or Hunter Dickinson?
Cooper Flagg.
I think every coach in the country, if you gave them a truth serum, would say Cooper Flagg.
Yeah.
But they're 7th, and Hunter Dickinson and his squad are way above. But then the AP voters are like, we've seen Hunter Dickinson do it before for like Michigan 5 years ago. What does that matter?
Yeah, I saw Cooper Flagg do it for Team USA this summer. Yeah, what does that mean?
So I'm kind of giving Anthony Davis the business. Like, you want to be excited? He used to dominate future accountants in the Big Ten? Like, what are we doing here?